For the first time in 4 weeks, someone beats Kyle Larson, and for the first time in about 2 months, someone finishes in front of Hendrick Motorsports. So you'd think I wouldn't be talking about them on the recap, but you'd be wrong. Find out why coming up next on the recap. So for the first time in 4 races, someone has beaten Kyle Larson, and I would like to congratulate Goodyear for beating Kyle Larson. Congratulations to all the fine people at Goodyear. You beat Kyle Larson. A driver couldn't do it, but the tires did. I'm just kidding. Alex Bowman was in the right place at the right time, and they had a great battle for the lead. He probably played a part in it by getting Larson's tires real hot, and that's also a product of the big spoiler racing. It is really hard to pass. Kyle Larson really had a way faster car or was driving a better line or whatever, but it took everything he had to get by Alex Bowman, and I think in doing so, he cooked his tires, and that's probably why you saw the tire go. But Kyle Larson, that close to winning. So close to getting 5 in a row, or 4 points races in a row, however you want to call it. But that being said, congratulations to Alex Bowman, and this is an Alex Bowman hat. I'm not recycling Jimmy Johnson gear here. Congratulations to Bowman. He drove a heck of a race, and you sort of got to put him as the odds-on favorite, not favorite, but the odds-on guy to upset Kyle Larson in the playoffs, as he's got 3 wins. And even though it doesn't seem like it because he's just so self-deprecating, I mean, he's sort of a smart-ass too, but he's self-deprecating in his humor as well, so you never think about him as a guy with 3 wins, but he's definitely got 3 wins right behind Kyle Larson. Truex is the other guy with 3 wins. So I'd say those 2 would be your favorites to upset Larson. Okay, on to race 2, sponsored by Sunoco Race Fuel. That's right, this one was complete strategy, and Kyle Busch wins it on that strategy. He saved the most gas. He pitted 1 lap after the rest of his Gibbs teammates, and that proved to be all he needed. Denny Hamlin had to pit. Denny Hamlin also so close to winning. We'll get to those picks here before this is over with, by the way. But Denny Hamlin really close to winning, but he pitted 1 lap too early, and Kyle Busch pitted just right. He had just enough fuel to win it on a day where he looked like he was going to have a terrible, terrible race with his transmission getting stuck in 4th. But he stuck in there, hung out, and that's why, like I said, Pocono, you never know what's going to happen. These races are crazy. But the strategy is what I would like to get to. The second race, it was really hard to judge who had what because everybody was on these crazy strategies. And I personally think that the reason they were on these crazy strategies is they're trying to beat Kyle Larson. I'm calling this the Kyle Larson effect because they're doing these F1 type strategies to beat one guy. Like you don't really see this until the playoffs most of the time. But these guys want to beat Kyle Larson so bad that they threw all kinds, and I guess Hendrick Motorsports, to be honest too, they were throwing all kinds of crazy strategies. Like I didn't know, who had what, who was the fastest car. That second race, it was just all strategy. And I think that was 100% due to Kyle Larson. All right, on to good weekend, bad weekend. I'm just going to combine both races so I don't have to do 2 good race, bad race. Kurt Busch races his way into the playoffs. He had been on a skid, but he has now raced his way back into the playoffs. So Kurt Busch had a great weekend for him and the Ganassi team. Daniel Suarez has been on a hot streak. He has raced his way up to 18th, which is second to last to get into the playoffs. So they've put themselves in really good position to possibly point their way into the playoffs, which is pretty amazing for a startup team. So Trackhouse has really switched the dial, or whatever you want to call it, here in these last few races. And they're looking really strong, really good. And Bubba Wallace with his first top 5 for Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan Motorsports, or 2311, whatever it's called. They've had good speed, and he actually, I will give the guy credit. He said, we have had good speed all season. It's either been my mistake driving or we've had a mistake in the pits. So he has put it on himself. He said, we've had speed, and this is the first time we've had something to show for it. So the first top 5 for Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace. And on to who had a bad weekend. I'll tell you who had a bad weekend. This guy. I picked Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin to win these races. And on the last lap of both of these races, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin were leading. And when the checkered flag flew, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin did not win. One ran out of gas and one blew a tire. So crazy. I was so close to having that streak just keep going. So close. But the sitting horseshoes, and I'll take my beating. God dang, though, I was so close. So close. Also, I mean, you got to say it, Kyle Larson had a bad weekend. Not that he ran bad, but not to get that win and then to finish second in the other race with damage. He probably could have won that other race too if he didn't have damage to the front of his nose. But even with damage on the front of his nose, he finished second. But you got to feel for Kyle Larson to lose a race like that. Oh man, that's got to be rough. Last lap, you blow a tire. And also, you got to say Chris Buescher had a terrible weekend. He fell out of the points. He finished close to dead last in one of the races. He was the last man in on points. Now he is the first man out. And also Michael McDowell fell out of the top 16. So that takes a spot away from a guy that can point their way in because he's in with his win. And Christopher Bell fell to 16th. So he is right on the verge of falling out. So that's 2 spots. It's like if you pointed your way in at 16th and 15th, you wouldn't make it because those 2 guys would take your spot points-wise because they have a win. So that cutoff line is getting really intense for these guys coming up next. Okay, that's all I got for you today on the recap. If you like the content, please subscribe down below. It helps me out a whole lot, and I really do appreciate it. And if you want to make a comment about anything, I love reading the comments. And thanks for your time. Peace.